Welcome back to Talking Shop with Shop Saber. I'm your host, Brandon, and I'm here with Nick.
Sidekick Nick.
Nick.
How's it going?
Sidekick Nick is sick of my... Oh, that was pretty good.
Yes. Another 15 minutes we forgot to record that would have been gold.
It would have been gold if I had hit the button sooner.
That's all right.
It's just so easy talking that we forget to hit the button over here.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Sidekick Nick, and I'm sick of Brandon's... That's funny.
Yeah.
So last week's episode was fun.
It was really good.
I really enjoyed that.
I think it was the top 5 episode of all time.
I think
to be
so.
honest with you. Yeah.
Top 5?
Stats, not sure if they said that, but that's just my opinion. Just making it up.
I'm not sure the stats say anything close to that, but yeah, we're gonna go with that. No, it was a lot of fun last week. It was really cool to hear like their story and how they got started, and just it's always more fun to hear it from a real business,
For sure.
like as they're talking about like what they've done with the machine, and just I really thought last week's episode was a lot of fun.
And I still think back to how crazy it was, like how his story from how he started into where he got, like just aligned with everything we talked about in the last 2 or 3 months. It was almost like he just listened and made it up, but obviously we know he didn't.
Yeah.
But it was
But like you said, it was like just a perfect storm of everything
Yeah.
we've been talking about. And so, I mean, just as you kind of like break it down, you're like, maybe some of the stuff we're saying, hey, there's some truth to it, right, guys?
Yeah,
Like,
kind of validates.
no. It's kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people listening to this and they're like, how true is that? But it was cool to see them like validate, hey, what they're saying is actually working.
Super cool, yeah.
So, no, did you finish watching the Masters last week?
I did.
Yeah.
It was pretty boring. I mean,
My boy Tiger.
yeah,
Tiger, man.
dead last.
Dead last.
I feel like that's a line from Happy Gilmore, isn't it? And Shooter McGavin's like, "Oh, where'd Happy finish? Dead last? Oh, good week." Something to that.
That is a line from Happy Gilmore.
But Scotty Scheffler's just turning into the next Tiger Woods, and it's making it really boring.
Yeah, I read a stat today about him though.
What's that?
He only has to hold the number one spot until 2035 to break Tiger's record.
2030. That's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
Did you also hear?
That's how long Tiger Woods was ranked number one golfer.
Yeah.
That he has to Scotty has to hold the number one. He's been 2 years, 3 years, something like that.
yeah.
And they said he has to hold it until 2035 to pass him.
Right. Did you also hear that? I think is McIlroy number 2? I think McIlroy's number 2.
I don't know.
Well, whatever. Whoever's number 2, the gap between the guy that's number 2 and Tiger Woods at number 784 is smaller than the gap that Scotty has between him.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy
It's
McIlroy.
crazy to think. Oh, boy.
See what I did there?
Stepped on your touchdown call. That was good.
See what I did there?
Yeah, it was good.
That was good. I appreciated that one. I don't know much about golf. I just know that my boy Tiger was wearing red on Sunday and
He was.
should have wore a different color.
He made it to the weekend. I mean,
Should have wore a different color. Tiger in red on Sunday means we're going for the win.
he should just wear white and surrender. Is that what he's supposed to be doing?
Tiger in white on Sundays. Surrender. Honestly, though, dude, I truly like. He's one of those golfers that I will always cheer for him. If
Me
he's
too.
out there, I will always cheer for him. I'm giving him a hard time right now, but honestly, one of my favorite athletes from a domination standpoint.
For sure.
Like there's not many athletes out there that dominated their sport to the level he did. I mean, a guy can hold first place from now to 2035 to beat his record. Like that's crazy.
That's just absurd.
It's nuts. So I just think about like all sports, and is there an athlete that's dominated sports more than he has? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, even just outside of dominating the sport, like what he's done to change it as far
Right.
as like the money that's out
Well,
there now. The
think about,
TV,
like-
everything.
Yeah, think about all the video game stuff and the Nike stuff and all
Yeah.
that. Like, dude, he's just changed it. Like, props to Tiger Woods.
For sure.
Be the Tiger Woods in your industry.
And props to him for like changing his attitude towards people from when
Right.
he was. I mean, obviously, when you're dominating a sport like that, you kind of have to have that mentality. But now to see him out there like laughing and having fun and actually talking to people,
Humble.
and interacting, and kind of got humbled by all the things that happened to him.
I was gonna
in
say,
the
I
past
think
few
that's what
years.
happened. I think he got humbled, to be honest with you. But how many professional athletes would go and hide?
Probably more than wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would think.
And that's my thing is he hasn't. He's still out there. People are giving him a hard time because he finished last.
Yep.
Including me. I gave him a hard time. But like honestly, he's there.
I think he's setting his ego aside and just wanting
Right.
to go out and play.
Yeah.
You know,
and,
like-
and some of it I think is he wanted that record.
Oh yeah.
He wanted
Without
that
a
record. He obviously has the
Without a
record now for the most consecutive cuts made. But it says a lot that like he's in pain. I mean, there's no doubt
yeah.
about it. He's definitely not in the shape he was when he was dominating. And to be out there competing and I think you're the one who told me when he can ride a cart, he's back.
Oh yeah. When he hits 50 and gets the senior tour and can ride, I mean,
He's
I
back.
think he'll just dominate.
Back again.
Is this like talking golf with Shop
Talking
Saber
golf
now?
with Shop Saber.
We just
No.
spent 5 minutes talking about golf.
We did talk about 5 minutes with golf, but I just had to talk about it because I thought it was kind of
for
cool.
sure.
But, and there, honestly, the reason I led into that, here's the real reason I did. It does actually have a point, and it has something to do with today's episode. But we were talking about finding something that excites you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of today's episode. And to me, Tiger Woods, like, he finds a reason to be excited to be out there, right? He gives me a reason to be excited about golf.
Sure.
I hate golf. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm terrible at it. Nothing good about golf for me. Like, the only thing about golf I loved was playing Tiger Woods on the Xbox when I was younger. Like, that's what I remember as golf. And the only reason I played it was because of Tiger Woods.
Yep, for sure.
And so I think about that, like, the excitement he injects into that sport, right? And the excitement that he brought to that sport. Because prior to that, I don't know that there was as many people that watched the sport.
No, it was definitely not like casual watching golf like it is now.
Right. And that's
like,
where
you
I'm
had to
saying
be into it to like watch.
I remember people in my family at holidays, right, putting on the golf tournament to see how Tiger was doing.
Yep.
And now we don't book, like, nobody cares, right? There's nothing that excites us about it. So my point being is, like, you have to find that same excitement in your own life, right? Whether it's your business, your job, whatever you're doing. But it's finding something that excites you and really kind of doubling down on it, right?
For sure.
Being passionate about something. And, I simply, I want to ask people as they're listening, like, why did you change your job? Why do you work where you work today? What was the reason why you switched jobs? And hopefully people are thinking about that and they're like, hey, there's a reason why I did, right? This reason. Maybe it was money, maybe it was people, maybe it was location, whatever. There was something, though, that excited you, correct?
Yep. Hopefully it's more like the atmosphere you're working in and like the success you can bring to a team, right? As opposed to obviously we all want to make more money, right? But I don't know, is there certain jobs that you can do that could pay you more money than you could ever need, but do you enjoy doing it? If you don't enjoy doing it, what's the point, right?
Well, I think
then you're just going to work and going through the motions.
But I think there are people out there that excites them, though. It's the money.
Sure.
Right? I mean, that's what excites them. So there are people out there that do the jobs they don't want to do, and it excites them, right? I'm not one of those people.
But if you're doing it for that, are you doing it for the right reason?
Right. And that's what I was just going to say is, like, is it really why you want to be doing it? Like, for me, I'm not that guy that's like, the money excites me. I truly, what excites me, like, in the world, like what truly excites me is seeing other people's success. And I know it sounds cliche and everybody's like, yeah, okay, whatever, but it's truly it. Like, I truly enjoy watching other people become successful.
100%, for sure.
Like, there's something about it for me, and I don't know how to describe it, but like helping a sales guy make his first sale, and then fast forward 5 years later and watching how successful they are in sales and like how much they can change their life. I take more pride in that than anything else.
For sure. And I think for me, like, being here, you get a lot of customers that are super nervous going into this, right? Because they've never done it before.
Right.
It's a huge investment for them or their business.
Right.
They're really nervous kind of going through the whole process. And then they get their machine, and a couple months later you get them email from them saying how amazing the thing is, how much it's changed their operation, how much more fun they're having doing their. We're just hearing those things from customers is what makes it all kind of come full circle in the end.
Hearing the stories from last week.
Absolutely.
Right? When we're sitting here talking to these guys, Twin Cities CNC, and they're talking about where they came from, what they had to deal with, and where they are. Those are the things that do excite me.
Yep.
I walked out of that podcast last week feeling pretty good. Like, I walked out of there and I'm like, man, let's do this. Let's keep going because we are making a difference.
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest thing is, like, I ask, those listening is, are you making a difference? Are you doing something in your career right now that you truly are proud of what you're accomplishing? And, maybe you're a business owner listening to this and you're like, let's be honest, you're struggling. Everybody's mentally struggling right now. Like, there's a lot of things going on. But I think we all are. Like, we're all struggling with something.
Oh, yeah. There's
like,
always some area.
There's something. And that's what I want to say is, like, if anybody's pretending that they're not struggling in some area of their life, they're lying, right? Because nothing in the world is perfect. You always got ups and downs, but don't let that down wreck your whole week, month, year, whatever, right?
I think it goes back to what we talked about before. Like, you can focus on the positives and use the negatives to help you learn and get better.
Right. Push you. But, let me just ask the question. What I was trying to get to in that was, why did you go into business for yourself?
Because you didn't want to have to work for somebody else?
Right. Was
Maybe? A lot of people?
Was it you wanted freedom from a boss, right? You wanted to control your own destiny. Maybe it was you're doing all the work anyways, and instead of somebody else getting the credit for it, you wanted to get the credit for it.
Right.
Maybe you're the best cabinet maker that ever existed, and instead of building cabinets under another person's name, you decided I might as well build them under my own name so I get the recognition.
Absolutely.
Maybe you wanted to go to Little League more and you couldn't get out of your normal job to go to Little League. Whatever that reason is, right?
Yep.
And I want you to think about that because sometimes when things get tough, you have to remember the things that excite you. This morning I was dealing with hackers. Literally, that's what I was dealing with today.
Doesn't excite you.
It does not excite me. But, true story, I was dealing with hackers this morning. It's not fun. But the thing is like, it's easy to let those like stressful moments and those terrible times like control your day.
Yep.
I'm already past it. I'm not past it because I've forgotten it. I'm still mad about the hacker stuff, right?
Yep.
But I'm past it because I know there's better days coming.
For sure.
Right?
Yep.
I've now made some serious upgrades to, help ourselves from that happening ever again. But again, fortunately, what they were after it could have been much worse, right?
For sure.
They didn't get any data, thankfully, right? They didn't get anything. They just sent out fake emails pretending to be us to a few people, right?
Right. And they didn't win.
They didn't win, right? We found what we needed to find, fortunately, because we have enough protocols and things in place. But my point being is like I had to sit there and spend a half a day now just making sure that everything we put in place actually did its job.
Correct.
And fortunately it did. But my point being is it would have been really easy to be like all worked up and mad and angry and, even during the moment, I wasn't mad, angry. I wasn't worked up. I was just going through the motion.
Right.
And people are asking questions. I'm like, hey, can I get back to you on that? I'm dealing with something at the moment,
Something else that's a little more
But it's like, it would have been easy to let my emotions control me in that, right? And then snapped at somebody else because they have a question. I'm like, I don't need to be that guy.
Right. It doesn't get you anywhere.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
nothing good comes
all
from
it does is just destroys the rest of your day.
For sure.
Because now you got to go repair those.
And the attitudes of your people that are around
right.
you.
And then the people around you are upset because you just snapped at them, and it's like, everybody loses.
Yep.
So, again, I remind you, like, find what excites you in your business and get back to that. And maybe you got into business because it was the financial freedom, right? You want to control more of it. But now you've gotten so caught up in the material costs and I got to build this and I got to do like that. You've lost that excitement. Maybe this is going back to CNC machines because, hey, that's what we sell.
ShopSaber.com.
Maybe you could take and buy a CNC machine and then increase your profits, right? Because you reduce your labor.
For sure.
Like just those type of things I think about is that like when you start to get stressed out in an area of your business or your job, maybe you're working for somebody else and you're cutting cabinets by hand, or you're a sign maker and you're having to do the signs by hand or wait on somebody else and you're getting tired of that vendor. Maybe it's time to like refocus that energy, that excitement you had. Okay, I still love being a sign maker. I love being able to visually take my ideas and bring them to life. Okay, how can I make that more efficient, right? How can I take out the pain points?
Right. Instead of having that stuff drag you down every day.
Right.
Use those things to like uplift you to focus on a different avenue to get to success, right? Because obviously if you're not happy in what you're doing every day or it's dragging you down or whatever, there's a different avenue that you can make it better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing is what ignites you, right? What gets that fire burning inside you? Like, and everybody has that. What is it that really gets you just like, yeah, pumped up, I'm ready to go, let's do this, right? And I think that's what you have to tap into because, we've had the same thing. I mean, obviously, like any other business, we have our ups and downs and we have good days and bad days. And I've always found a way to look past the bad days to find how to get back to the good days. What did we do previously that was working? What were the highlights and how could I focus on those, right? I always teach that to our sales staff because in sales, I feel like it's a really emotional position.
Oh yeah.
Being a sales guy.
Yep.
Because some days it's the highs of highs, right? You had a great day, you sold a bunch of stuff, you feel great. Sometimes you lose, right? You lose a sale or the person chooses to, not do anything at all and they change directions of the project. The project falls through, maybe the company budget doesn't get passed, right? Whatever it is, something out of your control. And suddenly now, like, it's super easy to dwell on that. Like, oh, I had a bad day. And you have to learn, like, I try to teach sales guys that you have to learn to kind of stay middle of the ground.
Yep.
Like, if you get too high in the highs, right, the fall is pretty far.
For sure. I think if you just get caught in thinking everything's going to always go right, you get a little bit complacent, right?
Yep.
Or you just think everything's going to be easy. and you're not going to have to put in
Right.
the work. Not necessarily just for this. I mean, in anything, right? I mean,
I
if you-
think
if you
when
think
the
it's-
highs are high, to kind of piggyback on that, you get complacent because you stop doing the little things
Yep.
because you're
that
so
got you
focused
there.
on winning. Yeah.
And you think it's all just going to kind of continue to fall into place without
Right.
doing those little things you've done the prior, whatever, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3
Right.
years, heck, working with somebody, whatever it is. I mean, you got to just keep doing all the little things to get
Correct.
to the end of the road.
And I think you see that with companies that rely on contracts. You know, they land that one contract,
Yep.
and then suddenly that's their focus is that contract, and they forget that there's other areas they could be focused on or other contracts and growing, and they become so complacent that that one contract's going to keep me busy. But then when that contract falls through or that contract gets discontinued or the business that was providing you with the contract decides they're going to, stop outsourcing, their business crumbles.
Or you just thought that one project was going to carry you through and lost focus on getting another contract to follow up after that one.
Right.
I mean, you got to just kind of keep doing the work to let it pile up, right?
Yeah. And I think you got to find what drives you, honestly, though. Like, maybe it's a new car. Like,
Drives you.
I like cars.
Funny.
Yeah, see? I like cars, though. Like, find that car that you want. And I've always told my sales guys this. Print out what your goal is. I know it sounds crazy, but, like,
It's a good reminder, though, if you look up at it every day and
that's
see
what I
it.
always tell people. Go
Or
to the
multiple
internet,
times.
find what you're working for. Print it out and post it in front of you. Because when you're having a bad moment, I want you to look at that.
Yep.
Because it'll push you through those terrible moments.
And like you said, it's a good reminder to get back to the things that you've been doing to get you
Right.
towards that dream, right?
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes it's a picture of your family, right? Sometimes it's a picture of a new house. Sometimes it's a picture of a car, whatever it is. But you're working towards something.
Yep.
And I always tell guys that. Like, find whatever you're working towards, put up there. And when you achieve it, put something new up there right away. There was a person I was talking to in business that told me this a long time ago, and it's kind of true. And I use it in a different form, and I'll explain how I use it. But he said, always have a trip booked in your life. And I said, why? He said, Brandon, always have a trip booked in your life because you always have something to look forward to. He said, you are always looking towards that. And I thought to myself, like, that's true. You have something, right? To keep going, to keep going, to keep pushing. And I'm not a trip guy. I don't travel a lot. Like, I travel for work.
Yeah.
I'm not a trip guy. But that got me to believe in that statement. And so I've always put events out front of me, right? A goal, something to get to.
Yep.
So when I'm having one of those days where it's just kicking my ass, well, there's only 14 more days.
Yeah,
You
right.
know what I'm saying? Like 14 more days till whatever it is or 414 days.
I'll
you
be
know?
landing in Vegas next Friday.
Right.
That type of thing. That's
Correct.
I mean,
But it's something that pushes you through those difficult days, you know? And, for a lot of times for me, it's like hockey tournaments. I use that a lot with my kids. I enjoy like hockey tournaments with my boys.
Yep.
Like it's something I truly enjoy watching my son play goalie in a hockey tournament. So I always put hockey tournaments on all my calendars. So I can look at it and be like, okay, there's only 4 more weeks till we have our next hockey tournament.
And I think something like that, even not necessarily looking forward to it, but it can just change your mood. Like
Yep.
if you're all of a sudden you look up and you see that picture of your kid playing hockey, or the
Yep.
kids running around the hotel at a hockey tournament. Those thoughts can just kind of change your mood and bring you out of one of those little dips and get you
Yep.
back to where you need to be.
The other thing that I found is finding something, not just something materialistic, right? Because it's easy to be like, I'm going to buy a new car.
Yep.
But I'm talking about things that like proving something to yourself. Like set a goal that like prove to your, like challenge yourself, right? Can you make X amount of sales next year? Challenge yourself.
Yep.
Put that goal on the board, right? Because it's something to work towards. So when you have that tough day and you're like, hey, I'm supposed to make 100 sales next year. Oh, shoot.
If I waste this day,
If I
do
waste
nothing.
this day, I'm not going to get to, I got to,
Yep.
okay, push through it. It's okay that I don't feel great. Go now, you know?
100%.
And, sometimes it's your spouse, right? Prove something to your spouse, right? Prove something to your parents, right? Maybe your dad told you were going to flip burgers the rest of your life. Prove to them you're not going to, right?
Yep.
Or, maybe you have an ex that told you you were never going to go anywhere, right? I don't know.
happens.
Maybe that's why you started your business, right?
Yeah.
Somebody told you somebody told you were going to fail.
Yep.
Right? Maybe it's a friend of yours that when you started your business was kind of like, dude, you shouldn't do that.
Use that as motivation, man.
Prove them wrong.
Heck yeah.
Go win, right?
Always.
But you got to find that thing. What excites you to do the next thing in your job or the next thing in your business? Like, what excites you to push yourself to that next level? You made a sale. How are you going to go make the second sale, the next sale? You made an upgrade in your shop, right? Maybe you grew into a bigger shop. What comes next? New equipment? More equipment?
Bigger shop.
More people? Right?
More machines.
More and more machines. Shop savers. Only shop server machines.
Right. 8 of them lined
More-
up right
more
next to
blue.
each other, cutting all day long.
It's got to be bluer. More blue.
For sure.
It's like more cowbell, but it's blue. More blue.
More blue.
Got to be more
Shop
blue.
saber blue.
That should be our new phrase. Hashtag more blue.
I like it.
We should start that trend.
It'll catch on.
Hashtag more blue.
I like it.
I like
dig
that.
it.
Back to blue.
They're full of good ideas.
There it is. I'm full of all the good ideas. The best kind.
I said full of ideas.
The best kind of ideas.
Say good.
Best
Say
ideas. No, you basically implied it. I felt the energy coming off of you there.
That's fair.
It's what motivates me.
Good.
It's the energy that you give off that I was doing things
Glad
right.
I could motivate you through some part of your day.
Yeah, something like that. But no, I you know, as we sit here and think about where are you going, what are you doing, it's finding that excitement. You know, and I'm gonna, you know, Nick, maybe for you, maybe you could speak here a little bit. You don't talk enough, so I'm gonna blame you. For you, like what motivates you? Like as you think forward, like when you're trying to accomplish something, where's your motivating factor? Because you take on a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I think just helping others be successful and making their days easier, right?
Right?
I know that's been a little bit of help offering the sales team, you know, to get through their daily things because
It's been crazy.
Most days for me, I'm able to leave at 5. I mean, like a lot of those guys don't get to do that every day, right? Because they've been so
What
busy.
helps because
and
you
they
come in
stay-
at 4:30 in the morning.
Well, I mean, besides that, I mean, you know, yeah, it's true, but that's just kind of how I am. But anything I can do to help those guys get out on time so that I know that they can go enjoy their
Right.
time out of here like I can. I mean, customer success stories obviously is one thing that I really like to hear. I like sending those monthly emails to, you know, customers that have had their machines for a couple months just to kind of get, you know, a feel for what's going on. And
Right.
obviously if they're struggling with something and maybe they aren't always willing to ask for help, they throw it out there because we reached out, right?
Because you asked.
And
Yeah.
then they can get help to, again, be successful in their
Right.
business. And so that, I mean, here at work, that's kind of what it goes for me is to help people tell their success stories and be successful in their daily grind.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna tap into your personal life a second here, because you said all the right things for work, and everything you said is 100% true. And I knew that about you, though. What I want to know is how do you put yourself into so many other things outside of work? Because like you are one of those guys that you're involved in everything, like everything, dude. Like the other day, I saw a picture of you. I believe it was your daughter at the police department in town, delivering cookies
Yep.
to the police officers. And, you know, then I see, you know, other things where you're out at another police department delivering cookies to a different set of police departments, and you run a weather page that is got a ridiculous number of followers, and you are constantly posting weather updates and, you know, real life stuff that like is accurate, not like guessing, but like people come to you for legit weather knowledge and advice. Plus, you're out there taking senior pictures for every person I've ever seen. I mean, you do senior pictures galore. You do family photography. You've taken pictures for my family, honestly, some of the best pictures that we've had. All on top of doing your normal job to its full extent. What drives you?
I think just, I mean, seeing the happiness that it brings to people doing that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, kids only get to have their senior photos done once, right?
Yeah.
I still get, every time I go out to do them, even though I've done a million of them,
Yep.
I still get like super nervous about it, wondering how they're going to go, how it's going to be, like how it's
That's
going to,
funny.
it's just kind of how it is, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like
I would have never guessed that because you've done so many of them.
every single time, like
That's crazy.
driving there, I'm just like, I have butterflies in my stomach thinking, oh my God, how is this going to go? Like, cause you just never know how kids are going to do with it. Right.
Right.
But you just got to kind of, you know, break the ice, make them have fun with it. And,
Right.
and it always goes fine, but you still like have that nervousness that
Yeah.
makes you wonder.
Well, it's raining out, so can you take it in my entryway?
Oh boy. That's a heck of a callback right there. I had kind of forgotten about that.
I didn't forget about that one.
But I think it's just, I mean, I don't know, taking a little bit of time away from my life to help somebody else out or making
cool.
somebody else. I mean, we went to, you know, you brought up the police station thing the other day. We went on a hike with Drew's Boy Scout troop. We went for like 2.5 miles. I was like dead at the end of it. I'm like, dude, can we just go home? Like, I'm like, no, the kids are like, we had planned this, set this up with these guys and meet them down there. So we went and met them. But it's just, I don't know, it's one of those things where, yeah, you don't want to always do something. Following, you just want to go home and, you know,
Right.
watch the hockey playoffs, watch whatever, right?
Right.
But when you can take an extra 10 or 15 minutes out of your day to go and meet those people and thank them for what they do, it's one of those things that you always have to do. I feel like.
It was cool, and I don't mean to like put you on the spot, and I'm sorry,
fine.
but you're my subject here at this point.
Sure.
I want people to hear that though, because relate that to your own life. Relate that to your business. Like doing one more little thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it might not be the most convenient thing. Like you said, you want to go home, watch hockey playoffs. So you got better things to go do with your time. But sometimes just doing one more little thing makes such a difference in somebody else's life.
And it doesn't even take them that much time, right? I mean,
Right.
It was an extra 15, 20 minutes, whatever, 5-minute drive, and
Yeah.
stopped and chatted with them for a minute, and then
Yeah, you're
took
on an
off. I mean,
hour of
it's-
your time maybe,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Call it an hour round trip. But it was an hour of your day, which probably doesn't destroy your day,
No,
but it's something that those kids remember
for sure.
for a long time. It's a memory they're going to take with them, right?
Yep.
Or even the officers or everything. Like everybody remembers it,
Yep.
but it all can be like for nothing if you don't spend an hour.
Right, or just be like,
'Cause
forget it. I'm
you
not going
could've
to do it. I don't
squashed
want to do it.
Yeah,
Just
exactly. And it's
figure
like,
it out
so that's what that's kind of why I wanted to talk about that, is because you find like reasons to always say yes.
Yep.
And sometimes, I'll be honest, it's to a fault. I've had to tell you before, like, don't say yes to that.
You
Like,
have.
It's not your job to do that. Like,
Yep.
don't worry, I got you, because sometimes you become, in a habit of doing that. But I also believe that like, it is why we as a company are successful, because we have so many people in the company that want to say yes
For sure.
instead of no. And I believe that's what makes us successful, is having great people in our company. And I hope people listening to this are hearing that. What can you do inside your company? What are things that you could be doing right now to spread that same belief,
Yep.
right? If you push yourself, I've always said lead by example, right?
For sure.
It's easy to tell somebody to do something,
Yep.
but if you do it yourself, people tend to follow. They tend to want to be a part of that. Like, so as an owner of a company or a leader, a manager, supervisor, whatever position you hold, are you doing the things you're expecting your employees to do?
You should be.
Yeah, because if you aren't,
And even simple things like grabbing a bag of garbage out of a room, like simple things like
Nailed it.
you could easily just walk by it and be like, oh, the cleaners are coming tonight, or
Right.
somebody else will see that it's full and grab it. Well, you're gonna be probably walking by a dumpster or garbage can, you can throw it in.
right?
Just grab it and carry it with you and toss it in the dumpster as you go by, because you might not think about it at the time, but it's gonna show a lot to the people around you that you actually did it.
It's something that you say that actually is funny. It brings me back to the old JB days, right? My dad was always that guy, and it's why I'm that guy now. Like,
Yep.
I can remember vividly the first time I worked for my dad, many, many moons ago. We were leaving work one night, and there was some trash blowing around the parking lot, right?
Yep.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't think twice to go grab it. Right? I wasn't gonna go grab it. I was gonna get my truck and leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching my dad walk out of the building, because we walked out together, and he walked the opposite way from where we were walking. And I'm like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "Gotta go grab this trash real quick." And he did. He walked over there, picked the trash up, brought it to the trash can, and threw it away. And I remember standing there watching him do this. And I vividly remember saying, "I will never do that again. I am never gonna let the CEO of our company
Right.
outwork me."
Yep.
Because I'm thinking to myself, like, this dude's the CEO, and he just went and did that. He should have told me to go do it, is what I was thinking, right?
Yep.
But it was who he was. Like, I'm not going to tell Brandon to do it. I'm just going to do it myself. But that taught me the most valuable lesson ever. Because if he told me, just go pick that up, I would have done it one
But
time.
he knew it was going to teach you that lesson. That's
Right,
why he did
exactly.
it.
And that's
He
what I'm
knew it.
saying. So I called him out on it one time. And I said, "You remember the time you did it?" He said, "Yeah, I did it on purpose." He said, "I knew that if I did it myself, you would see me doing it and know that you're not above it either."
Right.
And I was young at the time. I was really, really young. And since then, it's stuck with me. Like, and I will walk around the parking lot here and pick up trash in the morning or at night. A lot of times first in, first out, or first in, last out, first in, last out kind of deal.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
if you're the first in, make sure it looks nice for everybody else. If you're the last one out, make sure it looks presentable for the next morning kind of a deal, And I've just always been that guy. Like, I walk around, shut the lights off. Now I go around and I tidy up rooms and I empty trash cans, and I've done all those things. And it's because of the fact that it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything I shouldn't be doing already.
Right.
But it's because that's what I take pride in. It ignites me, right? It gets me excited to do something to help somebody else. Because now one other person doesn't have to burden their day with something.
Correct. And then maybe the next time,
Right.
the other person will
And it spreads.
grab it.
Yeah, it's very contagious. Like you see people doing that. Like today, I saw you out there shredding papers, I believe, if I
Yep,
wasn't mistaken.
yep.
You looked like Santa carrying 2 sacks of toys, because those bags were giant. But like, not your job. You didn't have to shred those papers. I mean, that was something that you helped the sales team do because they needed to get rid of some old documents, and you were taking care of it all. But then, like, it would have been really easy to just leave the mess that the shredder creates because, I mean, every shredder in the entire business has a mess around it, it seems like. But then I watched you go grab the the vacuum, and you vacuumed it all up.
For the record, you were right. It didn't work for.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to.
Crap.
But it was cool that you thought about it.
Yeah. So I ended up making a broom work like Andy told me to.
Yeah, I heard Andy yell at you, grab a broom, it'll be easier. But it's the truth, though. Like, how many people would have just left that mess?
Sure.
Like, I already did something I wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? It's just cool because, like, I came back down later on. Obviously, I saw you doing that. I'm like, hey, I'm going to sweep that up. And it was all cleaned up. I just assumed the vacuum did work, to be honest with you, because I hadn't heard anything. So I'm like, oh, maybe I was wrong. Vacuum worked.
It worked for about 4 seconds, then it was all just
and then it clogged up, didn't it? Yeah.
Sure did.
I told you it was going to. In all fairness, that vacuum's not very good.
Sure.
I bought that vacuum in Las Vegas like 8 years ago. I was at a show.
What?
Let me tell you the story.
Oh my!
This is a good story. This is a good story. So we're at a show, and you have to set up your booth, right? Sure. Well, you don't have to. Most people pay people to set up their booth. Not me. I set up our own booth. So we set up our booth, me and Ben, and we made an absolute mess. Absolute mess on the carpet. And then the guy next to us in the booth next to us, is like, oh, good thing they come and vacuum tonight. I didn't pay for vacuuming. They weren't coming to vacuum that night. So I was like, good point. They're not going to come vacuum. So I was like, Ben, we got to go, see if they're willing to vacuum tonight. And he's like, okay. So we walked over there, and I remember like asking, how much is it to have vacuuming done tonight? And they gave me a price. I was like, yeah, no, not paying for that. So I was like, Ben, we're going to buy a vacuum. So we did. Ben and I walked the strip down to a store, found a vacuum, purchased a vacuum, carried it back. I vacuumed the whole show every night. I vacuumed.
With that one?
Yeah, with that vacuum. I vacuumed our booth every night.
Did you buy it from a guy that was like, hey, buy this in the next 20 minutes. We'll give you a second one for free.
No, it's kind of funny, actually. And you know what? I'm wrong. I'm sorry. That wasn't Vegas. That was Atlanta. Atlanta, Georgia is where we were. And the only reason I remember this is good. Me and him went into the store. Same thing. We were walking on like the little strip thing that is there in Vegas or in Atlanta. And we walked in the store to buy the vacuum. It's like right away in the morning. And there was a fight going on.
Oh, God.
In the vacuum aisle. Two guys are punching each other, beating each other up. And Ben and I were standing there just trying to buy a vacuum. So we ended up, I remember walking around the fight to grab my vacuum and get the heck out of there. But they were fighting like they were straight out fighting. And they were employees for the record.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, I got the heck out of there, bought the vacuum, carried it back to the convention center, vacuumed our own booth. We did it every day. And then when we were at the end of this show, we're like, well, we might as well bring our vacuum home because we're going to have to bring this back to the next show. And that was going to be our show vacuum. It was going to go with us every time.
That's hilarious.
And I got back, and then I started to realize how much of an inconvenience it was to haul a vacuum and to do that. I'm like, just stop being cheap and buy the vacuuming service.
Cleaning service.
So I did. I ended up buying the cleaning service. It's the greatest thing I ever did.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, so now the vacuum sits here, and I mean, it's coming handy here. We use it.
Oh, yeah. I've used it up by the...
But that's where that vacuum came from. It used to be part of our show kit.
That's a really good story.
My favorite is that the fact that those two guys were fighting. I forgot about that. The two guys fighting in the vacuum aisle.
What happens at Walgreens before 7 a.m.?
Oh, it was awesome. I just remember those two fighting there. It was so funny. But yeah, so that's where that vacuum actually came from.
It's really cool.
Believe it or not, Ben and I, became...
It's good to know the story where that thing came from. I mean, I would have left it in Atlanta myself, but that's just me. I left it laying in the booth.
Probably should have. Probably should have.
But if you would have, you wouldn't have the story to tell today.
That's what I said.
It would never been brought up today, so...
It's just funny that when you think about it, like that story came from the fact that I was just too cheap to buy a vacuuming service. I don't know. The vacuum was still cheaper than the vacuum service that one time. The problem is time and time again, eventually it's just like, am I saving money anymore?
Is it not going to work as well as we need it to? Because things just get messier and messier. And then we have a vacuum that's kind of...
Well, if that's the problem, is then they just don't work. They eventually clog up and they don't work. And then you're
start out working really, really great, and then they just kind of progressively get clogged with everything. Everything gets wrapped around the little spinny wheel things, and it's It was way too much time dedicated into how a vacuum goes downhill.
It is,
but it happens.
I just spent a lot of time talking about vacuuming.
That's all right. We always kind of end the show with nonsense.
It was a fun story, though. No, it was. But yeah, I mean, again, I don't know why that fit into today's episode because that has nothing to do with what ignites me. I do not enjoy vacuuming a show. But it is one of those things that was just a fun story to tell. Because, again, it just goes back to doing the things that other people aren't willing to do. And maybe that falls into the line with that because, again, how many people would have just paid somebody else to do it rather than do it themselves? But I was looking at, like, can we save some money to do this? I'll just do it myself.
That makes sense.
And, we ended up here. But, no, that's kind of what I had today. I mean, it's not a real long episode today. I just wanted to get people thinking about, like, collectively, what is exciting you in your business right now? Maybe your business is slower right now. I've heard a few businesses saying they've slowed down a little bit lately. But I've actually seen more people investing in their own business right now because it's slowing down. They have the time to finally like slow down and breathe. And so they're like, yeah, even though we're not as crazy busy as we were, now is the time to make a change to our business.
And you have some time to
learn
those things.
Right. Yeah. Like you have the time to figure it out. You have a time to like install the machine. You have time to like really get up to speed rather than like running with your hair on fire trying to figure out how the heck you're going to change the way you do things.
So you have enough business to keep yourself afloat while you learn your new machine to make you more money in the long run, right?
And that's where I think the most successful businesses come from, is the ones that when things start to slow down, they capitalize on that. They use it to create momentum for the future.
For sure.
Versus like, okay, well, I got nothing to do, so I'm going to go play some video games.
And wait till the next line of work comes in, right?
Right. No, you got to find that way to like remotivate yourself, to push yourself. And again, what excites you? What excited you about your business to get you to this point that you can use for the future?
Yep. And do those things, and it's not only going to get you excited, but it's going to get your employees excited.
Right.
And you can lead by example, like we talked about earlier, to motivate your employees to step up a little bit more.
Right. And, I think some of it's reward too, right?
For sure.
How can you reward your employees? Maybe they've been busting their butt and they put in some crazy hours to get you through the last push. Don't make them do it twice.
Right.
Right? Give them a new tool. Give them something, new in the business to help with the future.
Yep.
We're actually hiring right now, believe it or not. So ShopSaver's hiring, but
it's been nice working with you.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Sorry about your luck. But no, it is one of those things where I'm excited that we're hiring.
For sure.
And the reason I'm hiring is because I want to make sure that our staff has enough people to support them so we can do the job that much better.
Planning ahead, right?
Right. And my thing is it's about planning ahead, but it's also about improvement.
Yep.
The customer experience, right? Making sure the customer gets more time and attention. Well, I need more people to do that.
For sure.
We've sold more machines in the last year, right?
Yep.
And every year we sell more machines. So therefore, the client base keeps getting bigger. If I'm not growing with staff, how am I going to support them at the same level?
You definitely won't be at the same level if you just keep
the support's going to eventually get hurt because you become bogged down. Mm-hmm. And that's the difference. Is we are investing in our staff right now. We're making some additions so that way we can continue to bring awesome service to our customers.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited about that.
As am I.
I'm not excited about training.
Oh, I mean, it's one of those things that you have to just remember that in the big picture,
it's worth it.
Training might not be fun, but in the end, it's going to be worth it.
That's why I'm looking out in front. I see it sitting out there, and that's where I'm going.
Yep.
But we could all agree, training new employees is not fun.
No.
I don't think there's a single person out there that's like, yay, I love it.
And I don't think even being a new employee, the training part.
I think the training part sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
I think every new employee hates it too.
Yep.
Because it's learning something, it's uncomfortable. You're at a business that you're not comfortable with the people around you. You don't know where you're at. The environment's all new, and you don't know how to do what you need to do.
Right. And then the pressure you put on yourself to be successful.
Those are the people I like working with, though, is the ones that put that pressure on themselves to be successful.
For sure.
So we can all just power through it and get you where you need to go.
Yep. Agreed.
Tiger Woods, yo.
With that.
You don't get to say that. That's my line.
I know.
No, I really am out of things to talk about today. That's what I had.
You got to go hunt down some hackers.
Stupid hacking. So dumb.
I didn't mean to bring that up again.
Yeah. And then the worst part is you call the police department about it, and they're like, did you lose any money? Well, no. Yeah, then we're not going to investigate that.
Anybody died?
What?
Nope.
Like, I literally am trying to prevent somebody from losing money down the road. Well, they'll report it when they lose money.
And then we'll worry about it. Maybe.
Right. I'm like, this seems so counterintuitive. Yeah, it's literally.
Could you imagine, though, like, the amount of that stuff that's going on, how much time?
Dude, I have their address, though. I have their address. I have their account number. I have everything about
actually?
Yes.
Oh.
And they just like, don't care.
Well, let's get on a plane. Let's go vigilante justice style on this.
That ain't worth my time.
Take Chad.
Take Chad.
You just walk up to the front.
Chad might go. He's
knock to the front door and knock, and they'll see Chad, and they'll just be like, what do you need? We'll give you anything you want. And if they don't, he'll just power
Chad's
through
a
the
big
floor.
guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him knocking on my door.
Nope.
Hey, I'm here. Oh, no. He's just... as he busts the door in.
Like the Kool-Aid man just plowing through the door.
That's pretty funny.
Good stuff.
But yeah, no, that's what I know. Next week we'll be back with another episode.
We will be.
I'm excited.
150.
150 next week, yeah. I think next week we're going to talk about mental warfare.
Sweet.
I think that's next week's episode. Mental warfare.
Might get into some other kind of warfare too.
Maybe. We don't know.
Who knows?
We'll see what the week
Depends what the
brings.
hackers try to pull on
Yeah,
us.
no crap, right? Nope. Yeah, no. I'm pretty excited though. Like I said, last week was a good episode with Twin
sure.
Cities, CNC. It was fun to chat with those guys. Next week we're going to talk a little bit about mental warfare and keep moving this year forward. Like I said, a lot of big things coming. We're excited. Our new TC series is officially live. So excited about that. And if you're in the market for a new pipe cutting machine, we have 2 versions of it available, a 12 and a 24-foot version. And
It's really sweet.
it's awesome. It's available with round or square rectangle. And it has available with or without water cooling. So
That water thing is sweet.
isn't that sweet?
I was down there watching Ben do some stuff on
I
the other day,
know.
and I was like, dude, this thing is awesome.
I know, it's super awesome. I was pretty pumped about it. So I'm excited to get that new video out. We're doing some new videos on it. But yeah, we're officially launched and live with that thing. So that's pretty cool. Go check it out now.
Yes.
Do it now.
Follow us on social media for the latest and greatest videos and
Do it.
photos and advertising for all the cool stuff we got going on.
Well, you know what? We got to get back at it. So with that, I'm Brandon.
And I'm Nick.
Thanks for talking shop with ShopSaver.